Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn. And joining me today is Rishi. How's it going, mate?
Very well, thank you, Carl. Much better than the last time. We've actually got stuff to talk about today, mate.
Yeah, for ages we were complaining that we had nothing to go at in terms of a podcast, but it's like buses. We've got three at once here. So finally, Brandon Mbeumo is undergoing medical at Carrington. So finally got that over the line. And then Marcus Rashford is on the verge of joining Barcelona on loan for a season and having his all his wages are being covered by Barcelona, which is a huge win for United. And just a small matter of a beginning of our pre-season friendlies. A pretty drab start, to be fair, but it's all about the fitness at this point. So we'll start off with the big news about Brand Mbeumo. Yesterday we got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, and David Ornstein, of course, beat him to the punch by about 10 minutes as usual. Um, so he's here. He's arriving. He's undergoing his medical this weekend, and he should be ready to fly out to America on Tuesday, Rush.
Yeah. Finally over the line after 6 weeks of negotiation. We were quite unsure on how this one was going to play out, and it was getting to the point where we really needed to either, get it over the line or walk away. And I'm glad they've sorted it out. The final fee, I believe, is 65 million plus six in add-ons, so 71 total. Um, in recent weeks, we've seen a slew of transfers in the sort of 50 to 55 bracket as well, which in comparison, when you look at the player and the value, this one now doesn't seem so bad in comparison. For those that want to do a bit of mental gymnastics with the fee, it's still obviously a steep price, but we hope that he comes in and settles.
Yeah, it's a steep price, but we are paying it in installments, four installments across 4 years for the initial £65 million. And when you consider the fees for Mohamed Kudus, Gibbs White, Madueke, and Anthony Alanga, these are all in around the £50 million mark, or 60, I think, in the case of Gibbs White, if that goes through. So to get a guy who has far more goals than those players for 65, plus add-ons is it seems like a lot, but in today's market, it's probably a good bit of business from United. And
Yeah, the market's insane, isn't it? So it's one of those. I mean, it is a steep price, but it's if he hits the ground running, then we won't be talking about the price, and that's what we hope for. But yeah, it's one of those. Obviously he was the priority target, and he's come in now, so we look forward to seeing him in preseason. Like you say, it was a bit of a damp performance today, but today it's more about fitness more than anything.
yeah, so he has a 5-year contract and United also installed a plus one in there. So
Hmm.
it's at least until 2030, and if United want to activate the clause, it'll be 2031. So I'll take him up to his early 30s. So this is a player who's been signed for the here and now. He's very much coming into his peak. Same with Mateus Cunha. Diego Leon is like a signing for the future. So is Tito Obi. But Cunha and Mbeumo are for the here and now, because we scored, as I've said many times, we scored 44 goals last season. These two have a combined 52 goals and assists for Wolves and Brentford last season. So we're hoping that they're going to bring that to the table this season and hit the ground running. And it it is worth noting that Man United brings a completely different pressure to playing for Wolves or Brentford. But I'm hoping that these two will relish it. What I really love about these two is that they were not interested in anyone else. They had offers from Premier League clubs that are in the Champions League, but both of them wanted to play for Man United, and that's a really good start because we've had players in the past that have come either purely for the money or their agent has persuaded them to go to United because he's getting huge commission. But these players are coming to United because they followed United as young boys and this is their dream. So these are the type of players that I want at Old Trafford.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a bonus. I don't know what the wages are going to be like for Mbeumo. I don't know if there's any news on that that they've disclosed. I hope that's in line with the new policy on what they want to do because I know we've been working hard to reduce the wage bill. But yeah, it's fantastic. He's like you say, he's turned down clubs who on paper are in a better position than us, who could have offered Europe. So I fully believe that these guys have been sold on a project and are invested in getting us back to where we belong, which is a good sign.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the United shirt, doing all the photo ops and all that, and then I'm seeing him boarding the flight to America on Tuesday with the rest of the squad. Um, Hopefully, he makes his preseason debut against West Ham, and uh, and then obviously the proper debut against Arsenal. We're going to need him in that game if we're going to get anything from
Oh,
it.
most definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, if they could hit the ground running, that would be fantastic. And yeah, especially with the running we have as well, because it's a ridiculous fixture list, the first 8 games. We play last season's top four, so it's important that we pick up points early on. My only concern, Carl, is the fact that, when we look at the GA of both of those players from last season, we should be a bit cautious on cutting and pasting that over to United because, they played different roles for their individual teams. And whilst I see them getting goals and assists, I think it'll be spread out. So I'm not really looking at the numbers from last season, hoping that they're going to recreate that. I just think that they will improve us and the goals will be spread out.
Yeah, we need to be scoring a lot more than 44 goals in a 38 Premier League season, and obviously
Yeah.
these are two players that are going to help us with that. If they were able to equal their tallies from last season, that would be brilliant. But like I said, we just want to
hmm
get more goals collectively as a team, and yeah,
Yeah, that's the key, really. And obviously, it's a big outlay. And the next signing, if there is going to be one, I would like it to be in goal.
yeah, yeah. Two priorities now had to be a keeper
Yeah,
and a striker, a number nine. Fabrizio,
definitely, definitely. I hear it with the striker, and that would be fantastic. But now we've got these two. I think we've got a bit to work with. So, because the striker market isn't great at the moment. Um, and some of the names I'm hearing linked, like Mateta, for instance,
no.
I think would be a stopgap signing, and it would be 30 to 40 odd million pounds. And these are players that we'll be looking to get rid of in a year or two anyway. So I'd rather use Xerxes and use these other two and go for a goalkeeper who would shore things up at the back. Um, I know Sheshko's available as well, but they've kind of ruled him out this season from a move, or they've priced him out of a move to Arsenal. So I think he'll probably stick around in the Bundesliga for another season. But that could be an interesting one further down the line.
Well, Ben Jacobs of Talksport has said that Shesko to Man United is one to keep an eye on in this window,
Mm.
but obviously deals will have to be done in order for that to happen. Um,
Definitely, definitely. Because yeah, I know he was priced out of the move to Arsenal. So I'd be quite cautious with overpaying, especially because I do think he's a project striker. But from what I've seen, I do like him. In an ideal scenario, I would like to get him, but also send Rasmus the other way to Leipzig, as we've mentioned here before.
yeah, even if it was only on loan, you're sending Rasmus to a team with less pressure on him, and uh,
Definitely, and a team that has a track record as well of, nurturing young talent and guiding them.
yeah, he could come back rejuvenated with a loan to RB Leipzig, but let's see. Um,
hmm
Yeah, Šeško, as you say, was heavily linked with Arsenal, but they decided to abandon their pursuit there due to the finances and go after Victor Gyökeres instead.
hmm
So that leaves the door open for us if we want to go there. Um,
Yeah.
his goal record tends to improve year on year between Salzburg and Leipzig, and at some point, whether it be this window or the next, he's going to get a big move. I wouldn't mind it being to us. What's good is you said he'd be a project signing due to his age and his goal record, and he's by no means a finished article. The
Yeah,
good thing is that he's going to have a really good supporting cast now, given the signings of Korea and Mbeumo.
definitely. So that's one of the key things now, Kyle. If we target somebody like him now, with the experience of an Mbeumo and Cunha, I think you alleviate some of the pressure when you go for a project striker now. Whereas before we couldn't really afford it because we would have been setting him up to fail, much like we did with Rasmus. That was a lot for him to carry on his shoulders. So if he were to come in now, I think it would be different.
Yeah, quite possibly, but I don't think United are you know hell bent on cutting ties with Rasmus. But
Hmm.
if a good offer comes in from Serie A, for example, and they're able to avoid a loss on the PSR calculator, they might take that
Yeah,
because we need sales, as you know.
definitely. Oh, another thing that I've been keeping an eye on as well. It's a bit of a shame that Gasparini's left Atalanta
Mm.
because they've had some major sales. Ratugi's gone to Saudi Arabia, and Lookman looks as if he's going to Inter Milan. So they're very cash rich at the moment. And in my head, I was doing some maths and I was thinking, a reunion somewhere familiar for Rasmus to return to would be interesting.
But yeah, we've said that about Bayer Leverkusen, and they haven't come for any of our players.
No,
Um,
yeah. Funny enough, Ten Hag made some comments about Anthony, saying how he's like a son, but he's not one that he's currently interested in.
yeah, when I read the first sentence of that quote, I was getting excited. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. And also, I'm sure it was trending all over Twitter yesterday. So you probably saw that Leverkusen played Flamengo under 20s, and they got their butts handed to them, 5-0.
oh dear.
So there was a lot of United fans giddy at the fact that Ten Hag's back in the game.
So just to clarify, who won 5-0?
Flamengo, the under 20s, by
Oh,
the way.
oh dear.
Flamengo's under 20s versus Bayern Leverkusen, their first game, and they lost 5-0.
Well, Bayer Leverkusen fans, you you might finish eighth in the Bundesliga, but you might win the German
Yeah.
Cup. So
Yeah,
get
yeah.
ready for that.
Yeah, you might win some stuff, but just expect to get just absolutely smashed to pieces in certain games.
Yeah, like Bayern, for example.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, just very high scoring losses.
yeah, like 6-3.
Hmm.
That was one of our losses to Man City under Ten Hag. Um, so you mentioned the possibility of a goalkeeper there, which we both agree is absolutely essential.
Hmm.
Now, the latest link, and this has been not the first link with this goalkeeper, is the young goalkeeper from Royal Antwerp, Sané Lamans, uh, and he is 23 years old. And last season, no goalkeeper in the world made more saves, 177, or prevented more goals, that's 16.47. Um, and he is 6'4", so looks like a very commanding goalkeeper. Still very young, statistically exceptional though. And if you're talking, 20 million or below, I would say it's definitely worth the gamble, Bruce.
Absolutely, I'm there with you. And yes, 23 is quite young for a goalkeeper, but in this day and age, I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. Before it used to be that, goalkeepers come into their own in their 30s and whatnot. But nowadays, I think 23 is seasoned. In terms of league, it's going to be a big step up, obviously. But like you say, if it's sort of 20 million or less, then I don't mind a punt. The only other goalkeeper I've heard us linked to is Emi Martinez, and I
Oh,
don't know how I feel about that one, to be honest.
not keen on him, not just because of his
Yeah,
antics, but I think he's got a lot of errors in him as well. So,
definitely. So it's one of those where, a gun to my head, if you said Onana or Martinez, I'd reluctantly choose Martinez. But I don't think he's that much of an upgrade. He's got mistakes in him. He's 32, which isn't bad for a goalkeeper. Uh, I'm hearing there might be a release clause of about 21 million, which in today's market, I'm guessing is not too bad. But yeah, if there's alternatives, I'd look at alternatives. For me, Emi Martinez would be a last resort because I don't think he's a huge improvement.
Yeah, I would rather go for the Belgian kid, to be honest,
Yeah, yeah.
because you've got the longevity there. Tell you what,
Hmm.
if he's as good as Thibaut Courtois, we would have a hell of a
Oh, listen,
goalkeeper.
if he's half as good as Courtois, if he's half as good, we'll take that all day.
Another stat which you'll be licking your lips at is that he faced 6 penalties last season and he saved four.
That's
So
crazy. That's a crazy penalty save record. Wow.
so
And talking of, I was watching the women's Euros the other night, England versus Sweden, and some of the worst penalties I've ever seen, Carl. Oh my days.
I heard
Uh,
about that. Yeah.
I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, England women, they missed three penalties in a row and somehow won the shootout. It was insane.
I definitely have never seen that happen in the men's game.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. Because especially because the fifth penalty taken for Sweden was their goalkeeper. So I was thinking, I was like, oh, maybe she's like known for her set pieces. So I looked it up and she's never scored a goal in her life.
Do you know what it is? It's not that they're that bad. It was the pressure clearly got to them.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely, yeah. But I just thought it was such a strange decision. Could you imagine like just sending a goalkeeper up for one of five pens? Like it's a bit insane, unless
yeah,
they're like a specialist.
yeah, it's rare unless
Yeah,
it's a goalkeeper that has a record of scoring
yeah,
penalties. And
and I felt so bad for her. She just hoofed it over the bar, and yeah, it's mad.
I think it was the experienced Lucy Bronze who ended up winning it then with the final penalty. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lucy Bronze took it
Yeah.
nice and calm, cool, calm and collected. But yeah, three pens in a row missed. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but the main thing is that they got through and playing Italy
Yeah,
in the
some way,
semi-finals
somehow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did see Spain yesterday though. Oh, and they've got some of the best players in the women's game, so oh, that's going to be deadly.
Yeah, there's that
Um,
midfielder that plays for Barcelona. She's very good player.
Bonmati and Putellas. They're
Yeah,
usually Ballon d'Or winners.
yeah. I was going to say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this Antwerp keeper, we've been linked with him again, not for the first
Hmm.
time. I think United were even linked with him as far back as January.
Mm,
See, my only concern is, as you've alluded to, the jump up from
yeah.
the Belgian Pro League to the Premier League is massive.
Is huge, yeah. But I'd be if we get him, I'd be seeing him more as a replacement for Bayern, if I'm being honest, and someone who can then test Anana, you know. So I don't think there'll be huge amounts of pressure like that because I don't think he comes in as the number one. But it'll be one. It'll be a bit like when we had Lindegaard, say.
Yeah, it would be great though if to be honest, I don't want Onana to be starting as number one, but
Yeah.
if that happens and he makes a mistake, it'd be great to have
Hmm.
someone who can come in and take his place
Yeah, definitely. That'll give us that bit of assurance, and then can grow in confidence, and then hopefully replace him.
because Bayindir is not an option. I'm
No,
sorry.
he's not. He's
We,
absolutely not.
and we have to sell him. And
Yeah.
we only paid like 4.3 million for him. So as long as his
Hmm.
wages are not really high, we should be able to sell him
I
somewhere.
think he's on about 25 grand a week, Carl. He shouldn't be too hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
I know last summer he was linked to Celtic, but then I think they decided to go cash for Schmeichel, I think.
Yeah, probably the right decision. Even though in
Yeah.
the Scottish Cup final, Schmeichel made a huge error that led to
Hmm.
Aberdeen not on penalties. Um, it'd be nice if Solskjaer came in for Bayern there. He's the Besiktas manager, of course.
Besiktas. Yeah, yeah.
And he ruthlessly got rid of Alexei Chamberlain, the guy who used to play for Liverpool and Arsenal.
Mm,
Um, he has continued to have injury problems, I believe, and his contract has been ripped up at Besiktas. So,
yeah.
uh,
It's a shame actually because he was always a talented player, but yeah, he's been plagued by injuries, unfortunately. And I see Ollie signed Tammy Abraham as well, so that's a big coup for them in the Turkish
yeah,
league.
yeah, definitely. He was scoring plenty of
Yeah.
goals in Serie A. So yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah. Before he got injured, like he had a good little spell there, and then it was only the injuries really that slowed him down. But in this market, 17 million, 27 going on 28, it's not bad.
no, it's not bad at all. So. I want to come on to the big news this afternoon, and that's that Marcus Rashford is heading to Barcelona on loan. Um, the entirety of his wages are going to be covered by Barcelona, which is great news because he's on like 350 grand a week plus bonuses.
Fantastic news. I think, yeah, yeah, either 350 or 325, one of the two. Yeah, but yeah, 300 plus anyway. Um, I was hoping that they would cover a minimum of half, or like the majority, but to have it all paid is fantastic. I couldn't have asked for anything more. Um, if I was being a bit more selfish, the only other thing I would have liked maybe is an obligation with a termination fee, like we've seen with Jadon Sancho. But it's an option, isn't it? But yeah, the fact that they're covering the full wages is huge. If we can get a loan fee as well, then this is fantastic.
Yeah, uh, my starting position as a negotiator for United would have been to cover all his wages and give us
Yep.
a 6 million loan fee. But
Yeah, yeah, that would be brilliant. That if we could do that, and then you put like I don't know, an option for about 30 to 35 million, I'll take that happily.
but perhaps we've just settled for the wages being covered. I don't know if there's going to be a loan fee or not. We'll wait and
Yeah, a
we'll wait
loan
and
fee
see.
would be nice, but honestly, them covering all of the wages is huge.
Yeah, that's that's saving United over £1 million a month.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're saving millions over the course of the season. Yeah, and that will give us a lot of leeway as well. I think in some of the business that we want to do.
and what we want is there will be a buy option. I'm not sure what the fee is, but what we want is him to do well there, and then they want to buy him next summer. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and hopefully they have the finances to do that. You never know with Barcelona, with how many levers they have to pull in order to buy players, or can they
Definitely,
can they
definitely.
register
Yeah.
the players or not?
Hmm.
Um, we've seen that with Danny Almo. It took a bit of time to get him registered because
Yep.
The Liga's financial rules are even more strict than the Premier League.
Hmm.
So that's good. That out of the four attacking players that we needed to move on that Almiron didn't want, that's the first
Yep.
one out. Uh, Now we believe that Sancho is United are still negotiating with Juventus, it seems,
Yep.
and hopefully we'll get that one over the line.
Hmm.
If they're giving us 20 million pounds on top of the 5 million that we got from Chelsea, then and get all his wages off the books, then that's a great deal. But
Oh,
obviously,
happy days. But with Sancho now, Carl, I don't mind what the fee is. I just need him gone.
yeah, and United might have to write him a check to get rid of him too.
Yeah, definitely. That 5 million we got off Chelsea for the termination, I don't care. Just give it to him. We just need him off the books.
Yeah, 100%. And it's worth mentioning that with Alvaro Fernandez going to Real
Hmm.
Madrid and Elanga going to Newcastle, United are picking up some sell-on fees there,
Yeah,
which is
definitely. I think 6, 7 million pound each from both of those deals. I think.
yeah. And for years we didn't put in selling clauses, but now we're
Yeah.
being smart about it. But if I'm going to be critical, uh, Ten Hag would not give Alvaro Fernandez a chance. Now we see
Hmm.
Lindelof, Amrabat, Reguilon all playing at left back instead of this kid. And
Yeah.
now, just over a year later, he's going to Real Madrid for
Yeah, in a deal worth 50 million euros. It's kind of insane.
yeah. So you could praise United for the sell-on clause, but we have
Yeah,
to be critical of United for not giving this kid a chance.
definitely. I mean, he did the same with Pelestri. Ahmad as well was very fortunate to pick up the chances he eventually got because that was another one that
Oh, yeah,
we might have.
he did not want to know Ahmad. Uh,
No.
do you remember the Fulham game that we lost where he played Amari
Hmm.
Forzan instead of Ahmad?
Yeah.
And Amari
Yeah.
Forzan never played again for United. In fact,
Hmm.
he went to Monza, who are bottom of Serie A, and hardly played there.
Yeah.
So when we've seen what Ahmad has done since then, and
Hmm.
especially under Amorim, it's just criminal that Ten Hag didn't want to pick him. It's just you know these things happen. It's not just Ten Hag that does this. We've seen Mourinho not give chances to Salah and De Bruyne, and they've gone on to be world
Yeah,
class
definitely.
footballers.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah, it happens. It happens
Obviously,
sometimes.
Guardiola with Cole Palmer, probably the latest example.
Yeah.
Um, because he's a bit of a maverick, Cole Palmer, whereas
Hmm.
we all know that Guardiola likes to have players who fit his system and do what he wants them to
Yeah.
do. And
And it might happen again because obviously McAtee is up for grabs now, so that might be one that City end up regretting later on, and young O'Reilly as well. So some of these players that are on their fringes, I think, could prove good additions elsewhere.
mm, yeah, Guardiola doesn't really like players that want to try things and be bold and risky.
Yeah, likes to
He
coach it out of them, doesn't he? I mean, you just have to
yeah,
look at their right back situation, which is insane. Instead of just getting a right back, he's got Mateus Nunes there. And to come out and say that, a player who's played his whole career in midfield that he's not intelligent enough to play there is a bit insane.
yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But quite
Yeah.
happy to see him make mistakes,
Hmm.
and be nice to see them waste some money as well in the transfer market.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah, they need one or two duds, really, don't they?
yeah,
But unfortunately, from what I've seen, I think they've done pretty good business this summer.
on paper, yeah, but we'll see how it
Yeah,
turns
on
out.
paper, yeah, because I mean, I would have been quite happy without Nori Reinders. Cherky, I think, is the one with the question mark, but then the fee makes it so that it's probably worth a gamble for them.
He done that rather tasteless celebration when he scored it against us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, his attitude and everything stinks, but he gives me Adil Taarabt vibes. He's got
but
all the tech and stuff in the world, but the attitude I don't think matches.
he said he jumped at the chance to join Man City because he
Hmm.
wants to kill Man United. And that was the quotes that he
Clearly,
had
he
given.
hasn't seen United over the last decade. What is there left to kill?
No, he can't kill a dead body.
Yeah, yeah, what a plum.
But he's basically saying when the derby rolls around, he's going to be
Yeah,
fired up and actually motivated because of what happened to
yeah,
Leon.
we'll see.
We'll see. The thing is, even when City are miles better than us,
Hmm.
and we still do well in at least half the derbies,
Yeah,
yes, we've had the odds 6-3 and that, but United, under Solskjaer and Ten Hag,
it's really only under
yeah,
Ten Hag where
yeah,
the our record against the top four was so bad.
yeah,
With everybody else, we've always put up a fight in the bigger games, really.
yeah. I remember coming when from 2-0 down to beat City under Mourinho.
Hmm.
They were going to they were facing the dream scenario. City in 2018, it was April that month. They went 2-0
Yeah.
up against us. Then Sterling missed a couple of chances. It was 2-0 at half time, and they were about to win the league by beating Man United.
Hmm.
That's like Christmas Day for all City fans. And then we came back and won 3-2 in the second half. The Paul Pogba
Yeah.
show. It's the one memorable game that he had at
Hmm.
United. And I
That and
remember,
Leeds, the four
yeah,
assists against Leeds.
yeah, well, Bruno got the hat trick, yeah. And
Yeah, yeah.
I remember under Solskjaer, we were beating City in almost in every time we played them. It got to the
Hmm.
point where, you see, because Solskjaer's counterattacking approach was the perfect remedy to Guardiola ball.
Yeah.
So it got to the stage where Guardiola actually took out a forward and played an extra midfielder to try
Hmm.
and stop us from countering them, and was a drab 0-0 then in that COVID fixture. But yeah, we tend to have. There's been the odd drubbing, as you said, under Ten Hag, but over the years we've had a decent enough record against City, considering the gap in quality between the two teams.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So Anthony, what's going on with Anthony? We thought he'd be the player that lots of
Hmm.
clubs would be interested in, given his form. But what's going on?
Definitely. Definitely. I
Yeah.
thought that would be the easy sell, to be honest. I thought Real Betis as well, because he's even willing to take a pay cut to go to Betis. So I thought that would be a no-brainer. And he actually did himself no harm at all on loan. So I thought there'd be a lot more interest, to be honest. I was expecting maybe the likes of Atletico Madrid to be in for him, and they've done a lot of business already, but they haven't really addressed the right wing. So yeah, as the window goes on, I don't know. I'm still hopeful that he can move on. If not, then I don't know. Do we try and use him?
Um, no, I'm getting the impression that I'm just not interested in that at all.
Yeah, because I've been on here ranting and raving about our lack of wing back options or just wing backs that are good enough. And then I was told by one or two people that Amarim's got a track record of converting wingers to wing backs, and I was thinking, I was like, oh, well, if that's the case, and he wants to use Ahmad as a wing back, maybe if he's stuck with Anthony, that's where we will see him. But yeah, like you say, I'd prefer it if we got him off the books as well. Nice clean break. But I'm optimistic now. Like this Rashford one, I think really gets the ball rolling.
Mhm.
So if we can sort that out in the coming days, hopefully Sancho follows, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, the fact that the four forwards and Malacia were all given extra time off, it tells you that
Yeah.
the man and Rashford and Garnacho were training together alone
Hmm.
away from the main group. So it tells you where
Yeah.
the manager is with these players. He doesn't want them. He only wants to be working with players now that are going to be involved next season. And
Definitely. I'll tell you what though, Carl. Now you just mentioned Garnacho. Now that we know that Rashford's going out on loan, I wouldn't like to see Garnacho go out on loan. I'd like for that one to be a permanent move. And also, I don't want to get lowballed on that one either because, like we've seen with Gittins and a whole host of other players going for about 48 to 55 million pounds. Garnacho is not worse than any of them.
yeah, I agree. What we've been told by Fabrizio is that Garnacho wants a move to the Premier League,
Yeah.
but there's been no offers come in from
There's been
Premier League
no
clubs.
interest, has there? So yeah, that's the thing. So I don't know if they're playing it tactically and hoping to lowball us towards the end of the window. Because I think this is the one issue when you isolate players and come out and say that they're not part of the plans. Because then you kind of diminish your negotiating position. So that's particularly a concern. But yeah, when I'm seeing these other guys go for around 55, I'm not having it. I'm not lowballing Garnacho.
Yeah, I think in each of the last two seasons, Garnacho's got 20 goals and assists.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think there's two extremes, isn't there? There's people either that rate him too high or too low. He is a good player. Like there is obviously areas of his game that he needs to improve, but he's very young and he is young and he still contributes. Say what you want about him, all the criticisms, but he still comes in clutch sometimes and he puts up decent numbers for somebody his age.
I think the move that he would ideally want is Chelsea,
Hmm.
but they've just signed a million players already.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked if they came in for Garnacho, but I haven't heard anything on that recently. But there's definitely interest from Aston Villa. The question
Mm.
is, will his ego go to Villa Park?
Yeah, also I've been hearing some stupid stuff as well about that one, Carl. Like, because obviously I've heard rumors that they're interested in a swap deal for Martinez. The only person I would swap for Martinez is Anana.
Yeah, and even then, I wouldn't be that excited about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that excited about it, like because it's not a fair swap. Like, if you're gonna throw Garnacho and Martinez, and it doesn't make sense to me, you'll also have to give us money. But then that would also leave us with then having to shift Anana as well, so it's a bit long.
You see the Martinez links. I think most
Hmm.
of that is coming from Martinez's camp.
Probably, probably.
He's the one who wants to move to Old Trafford, but
Yeah.
United have not been showing any concrete interest in him.
Yeah, and so they shouldn't like because there's a lot of keepers out there, and honestly, like for me, he would be very low on the list.
Yeah, because when you factor in his age,
Hmm.
his he makes a lot of mistakes as
Yeah, and
you
then
know
his general attitude on top of it as well. He's a very dislikable person.
100%. That's what I was going to get to. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would probably be that's my main reason why I wouldn't want him at my club.
Yeah, honestly, that's one of the first things that annoyed me about him. Obviously, when some players are good enough, you kind of overlook other things, but he's not that either. And I think he's been on the decline. But yeah, just general attitude and just blatant disrespect, and you don't want that. You don't want that in the squad.
Yeah, when I watched him at the World Cup, I thought
Hmm.
he's emotionally immature for a guy of that age.
Yeah,
Like,
just very disgraceful behavior for somebody his age, isn't it? Like I could understand if he was 20.
yeah, not my cup of tea at all.
Yeah,
You know,
same here. And then yeah, like I say, the mistakes and everything else on top, he's not too much of an upgrade.
if at all. Some
Yeah.
people would say he's just the same as Unana.
Hmm.
So it'd be a total waste of money, to be honest. So just coming on to today's preseason friendly, the first one, it was
Yeah.
against the old enemy, Leeds, 0-0 draw in Stockholm. Um, Two different teams in each half, as you'd expect at this stage
Hmm.
of pre-season. Um, the team that started the first half was Bayern in goal, Mazrahi, De Ligt, Shaw across the back, then Amad Diallo was the right wing back, then Diego Leon left wing back, Casemiro and Bruno midfield, Toby Collier, Matthias Cunha as the tens, and Cheeto will be up front. Then that changed to Tom Heaton in goal, Aidan Heaven, Yarrow, Maguire across the back, Dorgu left wing back, Dallo right wing back, and then Ugarte and Kobe came on midfield. Rasmus went up front, and then Benito Montato and Mason Mount as the tens. That was for the second half. Um, it's worth noting that there was some flashes of brilliance from Lenny Yaro and Kobe Manu again, which is always great to see. Um, but we didn't manage to get a goal. I think Diego Leon went close to scoring in the match. That would have been brilliant to see him make a flying start
Hmm.
like that. But certainly, it sounds as if he's done well in that game. Um, just typical United didn't score. So, but not concerned about that at this stage. It's all about
No,
fitness really.
absolutely. That's the key thing. That's the key thing. But there are one or two things I'm looking forward to seeing this preseason, especially that balance in midfield or the imbalance that we've talked about. I think with all the things going on, we're quite stocked in midfield as well. So as much as we need midfield reinforcements, I'm not sure we're going to get them this summer. So I'm intrigued to see how it works and how we adapt. Collie is an interesting one. He's one I'm definitely keeping an eye on.
This is the chance for him to impress because
Definitely, definitely, because there's obviously problems there, and he can make himself the solution.
yeah, because Ugarte does not have the position nailed down,
Hmm.
because he was not starting in a lot of those games towards the end of last season.
Yeah.
Didn't start in the Europa League final either, Ugarte, I don't think.
Hmm.
So there's that position is anybody's if they want it.
Yeah, and we've
So
got to remember, like that's not Amarim's guy. You know, Ugarte was brought in under Ten Hag.
that's right, but Amram did have him at Sporting Lisbon for two
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah. But then he also moved on from there in it, so it's one of those.
I know, as I said on an earlier show, in the two seasons that Ugarte was at Sporting, they didn't win
Hmm.
the league, but they won the
Mm.
league before he was there and after he was there. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
that's a
not a
funny
good
one.
omen, is it? That's not good.
And PSG haven't missed
Not
him
good.
either, have they? Look at what
No,
they
they
went.
have. I mean, their midfield is incredible. I've been shocked by the rise of Vitinha, if I'm being totally honest. João Neves was very well hyped, and I knew a fair bit about him, but Vitinha has taken me by surprise.
Yeah, it's certainly taken me by surprise as well.
Hmm.
He's
And Fabian Ruiz, he's a much better player than I gave him credit for. I thought he was decent when he was at Napoli. Well, we were actually linked to him actually, and I thought he would be a decent signing. But yeah, him as well. He's very, very good.
yeah. There was a stupid link between us and him in this window, but
Yeah.
I don't see us signing any PSG players given the
No,
gulf in
no,
class between the two teams. Like, um,
definitely. And also, I mean, the other thing as well, Casemiro. If we have to eat up those wages as well, I don't see us getting a midfield reinforcement till next summer.
and signing Fabian Ruiz at this point in his career
Hmm.
would be like signing another Casemiro because he's
Another
20.
Casemiro, yeah,
Yeah,
because he's touching 30, isn't he? So yeah, yeah. The flavor of the month seems to be Richard Rios from Palmeiras, but as of yet, there's no links to us. He's linked to Roma and Benfica.
yeah. Obviously, we both of us feel that a goalkeeper and a striker is most important.
Yeah,
But if we can get a
definitely.
midfielder, that would be great.
Yeah,
But in the meantime, it's a real chance for Toby here, to nail down that number six spot. Although that's not where he
yeah,
play, not where.
absolutely.
But funny enough, in this game, he
Hmm.
played as a right-sided 10, and then he played at wing back.
Hmm.
So maybe the manager isn't, or maybe he's just trying a few things, but or else
Yeah,
he or else he doesn't have him as a he doesn't have him in mind as a number six. I would also
Hmm.
be interested to see Manu and Bruno in it too. Uh, uh, both of them are fantastic footballers, but then again, it would be risky if you're playing Arsenal, for example. Would you have
Yeah,
that
I
as your
can't
midfield
see it
too?
working. I can't see
Yeah,
that way. Cobby, the one thing I don't see Cobby doing is playing deep. I don't think he can play a defensive sort of role at all.
yeah. We kind of we kind of need to sign in N'Golo Kante, don't we? We need someone like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, you need somebody with three lungs. If we could find a Kante regen, that would be fantastic. But there's not too many of those knocking about. This is the problem I find with our midfield. So if you wanted to play Bruno there in a two, then yeah, go get me the next Kante. And if you start with Ugarte, then you need an elite ball carrier. So go get me a Frankie De Jong or a Nicola Barella.
Mhm. I'm still sore on the Frankie De Jong thing. I can't even talk about him anymore.
He's only got a year left on his deal, but I think he's in negotiations. He does. He really loves the club. I mean, I would too if they were paying me the amount of money he's getting paid.
And his wife doesn't want to live in Manchester. She's got used to the
Well,
lifestyle in
yeah,
Spain, you know.
yeah, and we've been there before. We've seen that story. You remember how it turned out with Di Maria? His missus was always chatting, and yeah, it doesn't end well with that.
You see, when I said at the start of the show that Kuna and
Hmm.
Mbeumo are desperate to play for Man United,
Yeah,
when I said there's certain players in the past that was not the case, Di Maria is the first person that came to mind because
absolutely.
he wanted to go to PSG and
Hmm.
United were the club willing to pay the money for him, and
Yep.
Madrid seemed to push him in
And
that
we made
direction.
an insane offer, and they looked at the wages and that, and yeah, that can't be the main motivating factor when moving. So yeah, that's what we need to get away from.
Yeah, and we signed Alexis Sanchez
Yep.
from Arsenal, who was supposed to
Yep.
go to City, but we offered to pay
Hmm.
him more money. That was a huge mistake, you know.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah, in hindsight, because I'll tell you, I was quite excited about that one because it was under Mourinho as well, and I know Mourinho tends to fancy the finished article opposed to working on players, and his record at Arsenal as well. And this is a player that I had watched from when he was at Udinese before he got the move to Barcelona, and I always fancied him. And I thought we were getting a real player. And what I saw was probably one of the fastest declines of a footballer I'd ever witnessed.
yeah, it was unbelievable. And I think one of the factors was Witty in an
Hmm.
interview after he left United, he said after one training session he wanted to go
He
back to
wanted to
Arsenal.
go back. Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? The state of us and yeah, his mental, attitude and all of that as well. It's terrible. Um, but yeah, probably up there with Deli Ali as one of the fastest declines of a footballer I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it just happened. It just had to be at United where it happened
Yeah,
after.
yeah, and with the bloody contract we had him on as well, it was ridiculous. He was on like 400K a week or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We should have let him go to City. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know another mistake was that City were interested in Fred, and we
Mm-hmm.
took him
Mm-hmm.
away from them, and they
Yeah,
dropped out of the race, and we signed him. That was a
yeah,
52
yeah.
million pounds for Fred.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
insane, wasn't it? That the Maguire one, ended up paying
Mhm.
80. They obviously ran out of jumped out of the race once it started, going up and up. That was another one. It was not been worth it.
Yeah,
And then some players that we absolutely should have got who were United players on paper, which didn't, like Riyad Mahrez, for example.
yeah. Mane from
Yeah,
Southampton. I think there was in.
Kante,
Yeah,
Kante,
Kante.
missing out on Kante was criminal.
Mhm. Yeah, and we should have signed Van Dijk when he was at Celtic.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I
Hmm.
don't, I say that quietly because he's just a Liverpool man now. I shouldn't even say that. It's
Yeah.
almost blasphemous. Uh, yeah. So finally, some movement from
Hmm.
Manchester United in this window. One attacker coming in, one leaving, and finally, as you say, the ball is now rolling.
Yeah.
and that's what we want to see. And
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? What a little bit of momentum can do. Like, because last week it's all doom and gloom. Today, now in the last 2 days, and Mbeumo's finally getting done, and Rashford's out the door. So it's how quickly things can change in football.
yeah, and it just gives you that lift that we would you feel a bit more positive now. We were kind
Yeah,
of
a little bit, a little bit. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm probably still I don't know if pessimistic or negative is the word. I'd like to say realistic, but it depends on perspective, I guess. When I look at the team, there's still a lot of frailties that I see. But yeah, we're moving in the right direction. I mean, the only way is up, surely.
yeah, yeah. We still have PTSD from the last 10 years, so
Hmm.
we're always cautiously optimistic going into a new season.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's one of those, isn't it? But yeah, for me, it's imperative that we get a new goalkeeper. So I would prioritize that now over the striker even. And also that's partly because I don't think the striker market is too great at the moment. Um,
Yeah.
the only other one we've been linked with is what Ollie Watkins. Would I be happy with Ollie Watkins? He is a goal scorer. He is proven. But again, he's Arsenal had a £60 million bid turned down in Jan, and I wouldn't like to go anywhere near that or north of that.
No, but if we don't get Shesko, Watkins might be
Hmm.
the deal that we do.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, at least with Sheshko, it would be a long-term investment. With
yeah,
Watkins, he's 29. There's no
um,
resale value. And some of this stuff we need to start looking at now going forward because of all the prior bad business. We need to start balancing books and looking at all of these things and net spend and, getting things back in return for players.
yeah. Given what happened with Alexis Sanchez and Casemiro more recently,
Hmm.
I'd want to stay away from players who are 29, 30, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Because then they're going to be stuck as well on high wages and we're not going to get rid of them. And they're going to walk away for free. So on paper, you've lost all of the money that you put in. Whereas the likes of Chelsea have thrived because even the players that they've, quote unquote made a loss on, they still retrieve some of that back.
And you can't do a swap deal Garnacho for Watkins because the age difference
Nah.
there is massive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The only one I would take in a swap deal for Garnacho from over there is probably Morgan Rogers.
Mm,
He's a good player. I like him. But then again,
absolutely. Yeah.
now that we've got Mbeumo, you don't really need a Morgan
Yeah.
Rogers, do you?
No. No.
Yeah,
Mm, yeah.
that's the
That's
thing.
kind of
Because
the
that
one
that would
bit.
have been a good one though. Because obviously, homegrown as well, English talent. You know, would
That's
have
the
been.
one position we don't need anybody.
That's the one position we don't need anybody in, and he's the best one. Like that one would have made a lot of sense to me. I would have happily taken Morgan Rogers for Garnacho.
We have been linked with a former Aston Villa player and Douglas Luiz at Juventus. What do you think of that one?
Mm. He's not had the best of time in at Juve, but I think he would still hold some stock in England because of his time at Villa, because he was pretty good at Villa. The only thing with me with him um, is he the answer in our midfield? Because he's not as progressive, but he's not quite a DM either, is he? So I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know about David Luiz. Douglas Luiz, sorry. Oh, less said about
Yeah,
David
he's
Luiz, the
he's
better.
okay. He's okay, isn't he? He's
Yeah, he's
okay.
okay. He's
Yeah.
okay. Like out of the when I look at the Juventus squad, there's two players that intrigue me. One we definitely can't get because he's an up and coming superstar, Kenan Yildiz. Um, and again, he plays like left 10. He can play across the front, sort of, attacking positions. But it's the one area now we don't need anyone, and I doubt they'll let him go. They have got a left back who can play left wing back as well by the name of Cambiasso, who intrigues me. Um, but I don't know. Man City had a bid for him rejected a couple of months ago. I think in Jan.
Would you take Vlahovic?
Oh, so this is an interesting one. I hear they're trying to get rid of him. He's only got a year left on contract. If they cancel that contract, would I take him? Yes. Yes, I would. I would take a punt if he's on a free. Um, I think we could probably offer him competitive wages without pushing the boat out. And if he's up for that, then brilliant. Um, Ideally, it would be like a 1 year with a 1 year option. But if he's willing to take that or not, I don't know.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I don't know how I feel
Yeah,
about it. He- His
because
goal,
obviously his stock is not as high as it was before, right? And yeah,
no.
but but given the links to like people like Mateta, yeah, give me Vlahovic on a free.
Yeah, his goal record at Fiorentina was far more impressive than it was at
Oh
Juve.
yeah, yeah, yeah. At that time, he was yeah, bang on the money. Even at Juve, it's really injuries that kind of curtailed his career. I
Yeah,
don't think he's a bad player. He wasn't the paciest to begin with, so in the Premier League, I don't know how he would cope.
yeah. Although he is big and physical, if you
Yeah,
get enough crosses into him,
because you need
may
that yard
thrive.
of pace, don't you, to get away from the defender, and that's something that he did used to rely on. Though he wasn't the quickest, he could sort of get past. But with all the injuries and that, I'm not sure because last season he wasn't the best, and then they brought Kolo Muani in January, and he
Yeah.
pretty much scored the same, if not slightly more goals than Vlahovic in half a season.
Um, yeah, and he had a strong finish to the season in the Club World Cup, Vlahovic. He
Hmm.
did well there. Scored against City, and he scored
Yeah,
in
so
another.
it's all very price dependent for me. So that's one of those I wouldn't rule out totally. I wouldn't say no to him if the
He's kind of
conditions
like
were correct.
fifth choice. He's that kind of striker, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. It's
No,
one of those. If you give me a choice between, taking a punt on him or we go into the season with Rasmus, I know what I'm choosing.
yeah. Out of what's available,
Yeah.
you would go with the Oshiman. Please, let's get him. He'd be number one on
Oh,
anyone's
yeah.
list.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely. Especially now that we've learned the terms as well of the deal to Galatasaray.
but
Personally, that would have been one that I looked at ahead of Mbeumo, but that ship has sailed now. And we've got Mbeumo, so.
you know, with the greatest of respect, I think Oshiman can do better than Galatasaray.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I think he can
definitely.
play for anyone. So I don't
Hmm.
understand how he's ended up seemingly going to Galatasaray on a permanent move. I just can't
Yeah,
believe
I,
that.
guess he just liked the culture there when he was there for the past season. Also, I think wages play a big part as well. He
Yeah.
obviously turned down the big money to go to Saudi because he wanted to stay in Europe. So I think this affords him a right balance of playing in Europe and all of that as well, Champions League. And then I think the tax laws in Turkey work
Mhm.
in his favor as well, so he gets a bigger cut of the
Yeah.
wages.
And the Turkish clubs can pay big wages, but they can't pay big transfer fees. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And then the structure of the deal is actually pretty decent. So it works out they're paying uh
mm,
about 35 million this summer, and then 30 million next summer.
yeah.
Um, but I
And
hear
even
there's a sell-on clause as well.
and even that is huge for Turkish clubs.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they normally pay under 10 million for players from the Premier League.
Hmm. But it goes to show, innit? Like this is what the big boys in any league can do, and Galatasaray are a big, big club.
Yeah, it's a hell of a coup for them to get a striker of that
Yeah,
quality. He
definitely.
got 35 goals in 40 games for them last season on loan. So
Yeah, and they got Leroy Sane this summer as well on a free transfer. And
yeah.
in that league, they're going to tear it up.
And so if me and you were compiling a list, uh, we'd probably have Osimhen at the top, then you'd have Sesko, then you'd have Watkins, and then you'd have like a Vlahovic. Maybe
Yeah, definitely. Yep, that's probably the order I'd go in.
we're excluding Gyökeres now because obviously he's going to
Well, yeah,
Arsenal, it
because he's
seems.
Arsenal bound in it. Otherwise, yeah, because I because the last couple of months I've been saying the two victors, either one would do. Just get me a victor, not an Ichibi.
Okay. Um, so things are looking a bit more positive in the transfer market. Things are beginning to
Hmm.
move in the right direction. So we shall wrap it up for today. Please, everybody, smash a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple. And thanks to everybody for all the downloads and the listens and the on the shares. It's I appreciate every single listener and. Hopefully the positivity train rolls on through pre-season and into August, and hopefully we get the 3 points against Arsenal and get off to a flyer. So, Bruce, it's been a pleasure as always.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to everyone listening as well. Hopefully, this is the start where we can start being a bit positive.
Yeah, because we need positivity. We're desperate for it
Absolutely.
after the worst season in like 51 years.
Hmm.
So we'll leave it there. See you later, Bruce.
Take care.
All right.